It was better than Lego. It was better than Lego. It was better than Lego.
Hello and welcome to Better Than Lego. My name's Mike Keating. Joining me this week to review the final week in a sensational NRL season is Geoff Foster. Evening, Geoff.
Good evening.
And we'll jump straight into it. We'll have a quick review of the weekend's results, sort out the finals, and plus look at the week to start. Then we're going to have a preview, and then we'll start looking at our favourite players who've been playing in the NRL, our favourite players to watch. And we'll say it's favourite players. We're not really interested in best or the most statistically efficient, just the ones that we've really enjoyed watching. What a great weekend it was anyway, surprisingly, to end the competition. Against all odds, Gold Coast managed to pull off the shock of the century by finishing in 8th place after both the Sharks and the Raiders lost. Manly claimed the top spot with a win over the Sharks. And unfortunately, that's the end of the road for the Raiders and the Sharks. Geoff, any thoughts on the games that weekend? I thought in particular, Gold Coast, considering the amount of pressure that was on them, put in just an excellent performance overall.
Yeah, well, I think look, I didn't really give them much chances really, because more because I thought the other sides would probably, one of them would pull out a result somewhere.
Yeah.
But the thing is, I suppose going into that final match, the pressure was kind of off them in a certain way, and they played with a lot of freedom. And look, they did what they can, and we all know what they can do. They can rack up a lot of points in a short space of time. They can score tries from anywhere on the pitch.
Yeah.
And the difference really this week is that either their defence was excellent, and I think maybe their opponents were kind of thinking towards the end of the season possibly, but still, they played well. They scored some excellent tries. And the most important thing is they give the fans something to look forward to next season. Really. Yeah,
I mean, stayed on Gold Coast. I think one of the things that I found this morning, sent to yourself, which was the conceding 36 points per game against the teams that they're losing to, which is, I mean, we'll look at that when we start talking about the preview when we go to the finals game. But Melbourne again clinched a top spot, comfortable champions, worthy minor premiers, I'd say. Difficult ending for the Sharks, who'd started to get some sort of promising run towards the end of the season, but again, something to build on from them, and they certainly weren't. They certainly improved on where they were early on in the season when they were struggling to get any wins at all, and it was staggering from a win to a defeat. So a nice finish to the end of them. Roosters managed to scrape through the Raiders, though. I mean, we'll talk about the Raiders now. Again, it's been a disappointing season really for them, I'd say, considering what, beginning of the season, we were probably looking at them as probably the 4th or 5th team, battling with Parramatta and South to that 3rd spot. And, it's all fallen apart, hasn't it?
Yeah. You've really got to, you can't really look at the Raiders just in the context of this season, because really it's been a trend that's been going that way now for three years. They've been losing players and not replacing players. They've had some good kids come through, but they can't. No team can lose the kind of talent that they had. In many cases, the classic one was when, if you go back 3 years, they had Rapana and Leilua on one side, and that was a devastating centre wing combination. It sort of got them a lot of tries, and they had attacking players all over the pitch. It's again, they just don't have the firepower. They can turn in defensive performances when Ricky gets them fired up. And they have done that several times this year, but sometimes you just can't rely on your defense. Sometimes you've got to have people in the side who can get you some free points, easy points. And with Jack White not being in tip-top form as he has been last year, the year before, he really struggled.
He's been poor, hasn't he? I mean, he was kind of struggling, even with Williams playing. I mean, Williams was playing. I think Williams was fairly consistent, when he was here this season with the Raiders, and he did give them something a bit extra. But Whiting's just, apart from a couple of games towards the end of the season, next to nothing from him. I mean, there's been a question mark posed on zero tackle, whether Ricky's Stewart's positions under threat. What would be your thoughts on that, Geoff?
I don't think it will be this season, because look, when a coach is under threat, generally speaking, the media know about it first.
Yeah.
And it's at least some people in the media are briefing, either briefing for the manager or briefing against them. If you look at the Fox people, they are the kind of like hatchet men whose words carry a lot of weight. On TV in the competition, they always seem to fall in behind Ricky Stewart. I think they got long-standing relationships with him, and they don't want to rock the boat. But the thing, I definitely think that, look, he has got time on his side, but he's not got endless amounts of time, and unless he arrests this kind of drop off in performance, the thing he's got a lot to change around, because you look at the likes of what the Bulldogs, the players that the Bulldogs are bringing in. I don't think that the Raiders are going to be bringing in anything like that amount of talent, but they're heading the same way as what the Bulldogs were. They just seem a couple of years further away from it, you see.
Well, staying on the question of the coaches, one of the other big stories of the week is the review that's going on at the moment at West Tigers, which is being conducted within the club regarding as to which way they want to go forward. I believe Tim Shanes is the director of football, and they've asked for his input on that. We'll find out at the end of the week. I know both Tarmo and Luciano Leilua, our favourites, have come out publicly in favour of Maguire. Tarmo saying that was one of the reasons why he went to West, and Luciano, to quote what he said, he turned me from a 20-minute man into an 80-minute man, and certainly his performances over the last 2 seasons have been exceptional. Although he's not top tier, he's on his way to making that, I would say. Names, well, I mean, we'll talk about whether we should go or not. I'll just throw a few of the names that have been mentioned. Obviously Paul Green, who's just left the Queensland job. Shane Flanagan, who's been without a job since he went Cronulla. I believe they're hesitant to appoint him because of the salary cap fiasco that he oversaw there. Other names that have been mentioned, Cameron Serraldo, the Penrith assistant, who's the Italian coach. He seems to be the name that's being mentioned for the next big RNLGL job. I can't imagine that he would want West Tigers. Other names that we mentioned, Christian Wolff, Steve McNamara, and inevitably Sean Wayne. I don't see any of those. I mean, if I'm conducting a review now for West Tigers, none of those names tickle my fancy.
Yeah, the thing is, that's if you were conducting the review. We're not talking about you. We're talking about some people who've got some very questionable, very questionable lines of thought, really. These are people who've made one bad error after another. So who knows who they're going to get in?
He's not gone yet. But...
No. Look, if he doesn't go this season, he's gone next season without a root and branch overhaul of that team. I don't believe that's going to be coming. He has got some players coming in. He's got Gilnett coming in from Wigan. He's got some other guys coming in there. But I'm looking at all these people, and I'm not really seeing the kind of performance jump that they're going to need to get themselves out of the mire. There are a lot of problems at that club, and it stretches from junior development, location, attendances, who's providing the money. Where do you start? It's just a ball of wax, isn't it? And there's so many issues there. You think you're gonna have to have like what the Germans used to have, like in the Second World War, a 5-year plan, a 10-year plan, a 20-year plan. there's just so much that needs to be fixed.
Yeah, I mean, I think you're right. I think I'd give him another year because I mean, he's had 3 years now. But he's had 3 years with no halfbacks, more or less. I mean, he had Dewey this year, and that made a difference. You know, they let Benji go as well. You know, that I think that was a mistake letting Benji go. He's still filled in a few holes at South. So, but if he does stay another year, I mean, he definitely has to be making the finals next year. I mean, they've not made the finals since I think 2011. I think it's the last time. So,
Well, especially when it's not just that. If you go further back, you know, the game, they've given away so many quality players.
Yeah, that's true.
Real top quality players, and it's just not just stuffing out your side. That was.
Yeah, I mean they're not alone there, really. Unfortunately, are they? But okay. The other news that we've heard this week is that I just announced yesterday or today, I believe it is, that the grand final will be at Suncorp. And also the discussing the possibility of increasing player fines for breaches of the NRL's integrity unit, which will mean the $50,000 that Paul Vaughan had been fined will go up to now potentially $20,000, which is no mean figure. I think the idea being that it'll stop the rich players from basically paying off all the fines. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, on to the finals preview then. Big game starts on the Friday, which is first versus fourth. Storms versus Manly, the game that everybody's been wanting to see again since they met a few weeks ago. Last meeting in the finals was 2012, and the Storm went on the way to beat the Bulldogs, which was coincidentally coached by Hasler. In the 2012 5, just give you some idea of some of the names that featured in that Des Hasler side in the 2012 final. Ben Barber, these are all for Canterbury. James Graham, Greg Eastwood, Michael Ennis, Bryson Goodwin, Trent Hodgkinson, Kristen Inu, Tim Laffey, Sam Cassiano, Josh Morris, Frank Pritchard, Sam Perrett, and current captain Josh Jackson, which, I mean, there's at least 6 or 7, probably even 8 or 9 players who played Super League since then. Melbourne, Addo Carr's out with hamstring. Munster is named to start. He is doubtful. He was doubtful earlier in the week, so there may still be issues with him, which means Brandon Smith will start and Hines will come off the bench along with Harry Grant as well. With Pappenhausen starting. I mean, this is a tough one to call, isn't it, Geoff? I mean, if there's a team that has the potential to beat it, it's got to be the team that's on fire.
Yeah, well, this is the guy that if you've got Sport Billy on your side, then you know you're always in with a chance. All the other guys are just got to do is just. I mean, I feel like if you just get in the tunnel at the start and say, "Listen, lads, you do all the tackling and I'll win the game." At this rate, you know, he doesn't seem that far away from it really. When his bad games are like, you know, 10 assists and 6 tackle busts and whatever. They're the type of no one really wants to be facing them. Too dangerous, way too dangerous, and especially as well with Melbourne seem to be picking up 1 or 2 injuries at the wrong time of the season.
I'm thinking about it, and although the result a couple of weeks ago was close, and they're within range. The way I saw that game is that I thought Manly were very lucky. Their completion rates weren't particularly great. They're one of the lowest completion rates in the competition. Melbourne, I think they're third best in terms of fewest errors. Manly, I think, are about second or third from bottom in terms of most errors.
Yeah.
I mean, I know everyone likes to look at Manly, but I honestly can't see it. I just think that, it's like finals time. We button down the hatches. We don't throw the ball about as much, or the good teams don't. So there's always a chance of Manly, but I'm not sure they can do it. I mean, what did you think of last week's performance from them? I mean, there was some great tries.
I didn't think that they were. They've been a flawed side all season. The only difference is they were a flawed side without Trbojevic, and they're a flawed side with him. The thing is, you've got to I would say 9 times out of 10, I would pick Melbourne.
Yeah.
Because they've got the experience, they've got more players. But this is the problem, that when you have these kind of like generational talents who are light years ahead of seeing everybody else in the comp, they can just go ham. And this Melbourne are pretty good at shutting guys like that down. But this is the problem, when you got someone like that on your side. Yeah. Sometimes the defense is just not going to hold a guy like that. And
yeah,
they might have to do.
Which was the one that they compare into the Hayne one, where he beat 9 players. I mean, it was poor defending, but you know, if a guy's doing stuff like that, what can you back against him?
Well, I can see a rerun of the old Terry Lamb, Ellery Hanley. It wouldn't surprise me if he might make a touch finding kick and someone leaves an elbow in there to try, because guys like that scare the hell out of you, because it doesn't matter what you do in your defense. You can front up, you can do everything. You just know that this guy can score no matter what, even if you defend perfectly. He can, and not just score. He can score 2 or 3 tries, take the game away from you in a 10-minute spell. So yeah, I mean, for me, Melbourne, they are the favourites, but I would be extremely concerned about how they're going to handle this guy.
Yeah, I mean, I think if they can complete the sets and improve that set completion rate, I don't think they can be getting away with another. I think they were 67% or something along those lines last time they played Manly, and sorry, last time they played Melbourne. And I think if you're playing the Storms, you've got to be 75% minimum. You know, I mean, really, it's 80%. I would say most of the time, but you know, I give them an extra 5% there with the way they throw the ball around. I mean, I think we talked about it before the last time they played, that they did expose Melbourne's right-hand side of the defence, which, you know, where Garrick scored scored a hat-trick, didn't he? And of course, Tommy scored a hat-trick the other week. You know,
the dangerous thing as well is the dangerous thing is this as well. It's not just the fact that, you know, this guy's like supremely talented, and he's making a mockery out of the stats tables, performance tables, this, that, and the other. Is the worst thing of all. If you look, when the games get big, that's when he tends to perform the best. You look at him, he got him into State of Origin. He was playing well before he got to State of Origin. He gets into State of Origin, he's running rings around everybody. Yeah, and they are the worst type of players. You know, you can have players that turn up for big matches who've not got a great deal of, you know, who are not that skillful, but they turn up for big matches. Then you have like skillful players who don't turn up for big matches. And then you have those rare ones who are like skillful players that have got big game mentality. And yeah, if I was Bellamy, I would be, because that is the guy that breaks the matrix.
Yeah. But the way, you know, when watching him the other day, the way they were playing, you know, reminded me very much of when Melbourne were playing with Billy Slater. The number of times they were dropping the ball off inside, or Tommy is just whizzing off the ball off, you know, Foran or Cherry Evans. Exactly the same players used to play with Cronk and Smith, were, you know, just 1-2, then fullbacks racing through. It's very interesting to see how Melbourne cope with that.
Yeah.
Okay, on to the next game, and the first of the elimination games on Saturday morning, the Roosters versus the Titans. First time the Titans have been in the final since 2016, and I'll go through some of the players playing for the Titans that day. Again, some very famous names, some names that you'll remember. Jared Hayne, David Mead, Conrad Terrell, Tyrone Roberts, 21-year-old Ash Taylor. Ash Taylor was playing that day. Luke Douglas, who played for Saints. Nathan Peets, Ryan James, Ignatius Parsi, Chris McCreen. I think is at Huddersfield now, I think. And Greg Bird. You know, lots of famous names there, but it shows you how long it is since they played. The Roosters have Victor Radley's back. Jared Hargreaves is back. Radley, this is one of the things I found out. He has the highest support rate of any player in the competition, even higher than Clint Gutherson. Clint Gutherson has the highest support rate in terms of, you know, backing up the play. But Radley, in terms of his average per game, is the number one in the NRL, which I was surprised at. Him coming back is definitely a big step. Takes a bit of the pressure off Hutchison, I would say, for the Roosters, who's played very well. Which way do you see this one going, Geoff?
Well, you'd be a fool to
really underdog on.
Yeah, I think you'd be a fool to back against the bookies' favourites because they're strong where the Titans are weak. The Titans concede a lot of points down those channels, and with the possible exception of let's say the Bunnies, no one shifts no one gets the ball out wide the ruck with as many options as well, you got them in the Roosters.
Yeah.
That said, when there are no expectations, this is when things go flying out of the predictions go flying out the window, because if there's no pressure on you, all they've got to do is all that they have to do is just turn up. Whereas the pressure is still on the Roosters to a certain extent, even with the injuries they've got. They're expected to not just beat the Titans, but beat them convincingly.
Yeah.
And with that's the thing, when expectations, some teams are crushed by them, aren't they?
Yeah, well, I mean, I can't see the Roosters getting crushed by expectations, I guess, but I don't know. It's a tricky one. I mean, this is the one I fancy. It depends on what sort of game the Roosters come up with, because again, they've been sloppy this year. Even, understandable. I mean, they've had like Cordner's out this most of the season. Luke Fenn retired. Brett Morris as well, and Luke Keary's been out as well. So they have been battling against it. If they come sloppy, I think the Titans can take advantage of it. I mean, this is going to be the one where I'm going to go for the Titans because I want them to win. I feel sorry for the shit. Oddly, I feel sorry for the Roosters because of what they've gone through, and I think it'll be interesting to see what Radley brings, because he does take that a bit extra pressure off. The Roosters are favourites, but I'm going to go for the Titans in a shot win, in a shootout.
Well, look, I think all Holbrook would be saying to his players, he'd just be saying, listen, you guys have nothing to lose. No one gives you a hope in hell of even getting maybe into double figures against these guys. So why don't you just go out there? But the other thing is, a lot of those players know that they're playing for contracts, that they're playing to be there next year, because Holbrook from this season now knows he's given a lot of those players 2 seasons now. And now he knows which guys he can rely on and which guys he can't. So there's a lot of guys in that side that really are going to have to turn up and need to play in the last game and play well to try and convince the coach that this will have a future there. So, I expect the Roosters to win, but it wouldn't surprise me if the Titans made a show of it.
Yeah. And speaking of that, while you've said it, Ash Taylor isn't even on the reserves. So it does look like he will, unless by an injury and progression for the Titans, I don't think we'll see him again. Okay, David Fafita came on the pitch, I think it was the 31st minute last week. What's our prediction this week? You can't wait 30 minutes before putting him on against the Roosters. He's got to be on after at least 20, if not before that, surely.
Yeah, look,
What's our prediction? What time's he coming on the pitch then?
Well, I would prefer to have him on from the start, but if you're not going to have him on from the start, then you need to be getting him on about the 18th, 20th minute. But look, I just don't like the idea of paying £1 million to a guy who's an impact player.
Of course, yeah.
You can't have £1 million impact player. Sorry, he's got to be, a consistent player.
That's something to improve to that next year, isn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, he needs to make that step up. They said that early in the season, didn't they? Okay.
Yeah.
Then on to the other game on Saturday, which is Panthers versus Souths. Taft is starting again at fullback after a solid performance last week against the Dragons. It's going to be a big test for him, given the way that Cleary's kicking completely dismantled Souths a few weeks ago. In Kickout starting in the second row ahead of Liam Martin. Souths have lost the last 5 against the Panthers. Have that said, The only games they've lost this year have been against the Panthers and Melbourne. I can't see any. I can only see Panthers winning this one.
Yeah, I agree. But once you get to the kind of like this point, whenever you're going on one of these kind of long statistical runs for either defeats or victories, you kind of get to a point where you think, well, we've got to win one.
Correct.
We can't keep losing all the games. We've got to win one of them.
Yeah.
So you might fall for that kind of that logical fallacy of the gambler's fallacy that your past performance reflects has an impact on your next game. But look, like I said, they've got to turn up sooner or later. They can't keep losing every game. So yeah, I expect Penrith to. I expect Penrith to go through. They've got the classic players, and they have the determination.
Yeah.
After the things that went wrong last season, they've got no excuse. Let's put it this way: if they lose, they've got no excuses, none whatsoever.
No, God, no. Yeah, I mean, I don't see it. I see that's I think of all the three games, that to me is the most comfortable. I think sorry, of all four, that to me is the most comfortable. Okay, then Parramatta versus Newcastle rounds off the weekend. Parramatta, who returned to form by beating Melbourne a couple of weeks ago. Campbell Gillard, Paulo, and Gutherson returns. Saifiti returns to prop after his knee injury, with Clemmer dropping down to the bench. I mean, Newcastle just haven't got much firepower. Have they got enough to really, get involved in anything other than a 10-12 win?
Yeah, I agree. They don't have a lot of firepower, and the other thing is, like, the firepower that they have got, I don't think that they get optimum use out of the players that they've got already. You got guys like I've watched Ponga now for 18 months when he's been fit, not fit, and I think to myself, this guy's got talent out the wazoo. He should be, and he doesn't seem to be progressing now. Whether that's down to him, whether it's down to his teammates, whether it's down to, I don't know, but sooner or later he's got to kind of, scratch his name in.
Does he not suffer from the same problems that Gutherson has, in that it's go on, mate, go and win us the game? That's the sort of approach. There's nobody else who can do it for them. So there's no other options really, is there? I mean, although Clifford's added a new dimension, in the halfbacks, he's still, they're still limited in terms of what they can attack with.
Yeah, possibly so. They have got some talent, and look, Ponga isn't the only player in that side that's been inconsistent. There are several players for the Knights. It just seems to be a kind of thing that's running through the club. I'm not sure that they've got the most professional attitude. In fact, I would say that they've probably got one of the worst attitudes in the league. There's always something with the Knights, always something with them. It's been going back decades, this. And, more than anybody, I'd say they need to get into the end of the season, a quality coach to get the best out of
what about this game? What about this game, though? I mean,
well, no, I'm not really. I just don't see. I don't see how they're going to. I mean, they might scrape to 12 points at the most. Not that Parramatta in that great form, but they managed to turn it around a little bit. They've got players coming back. That pack should have more. We should be able to give the Knights more than they can handle.
On the packs,
yeah. But still, you're going to go for Parramatta. My
concern would be that Parramatta, I think we've seen this a few times this season, earlier in the season anyway, like Manly, they can quickly score a lot of points on you. They've got that ability, and that to me is the concern for Newcastle, is that they have to draw Parramatta into a middle of the field fight, because if they get involved in any shootout, they've got Badman best, but I think it's the other Heimel Hunt. I mean, you can barely tell. Remember who the Newcastle three quarters are, can you? So it's Whereas
No.
the Parramatta ones, you certainly know the wingers are there. Okay. Excuse me. Okay, so that completes the review. We'll just go. What I want to do though is look at our favourite players as well, just over the last 5-10 minutes or so who've played this season. We're going to take it, as each week comes, because we could talk a good few minutes about it. Obviously, we'll start at fullback. A few of our nominations for our favourite player, and when we say favourite player, again, it's the ones that we like to watch. Obviously, Tommy Turbo, one of the nominations. Will Kennedy, Cronulla, Latrell. Reece Walsh, Teddy, Ponga, who we've just been bagging, Clint Gutherson, who we were bagging a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah.
And of course, we put Nico Hines in as well, who although he's played a lot of the season outside of the fullback spot, I thought he was worthy of a mention and a nomination. The great seasons all around, Geoff. I mean, if you was going to pick a top 3 in terms of your favourites to watch, who really set you alight this season out of those? I mean, obviously, all of them, I would say. I mean,
no. Well, look, I'm not going to say he's miles and miles away, because I do think that Tedesco's he was a little bit out of form for the first maybe 2-3 games, maybe more. I'm not sure if he was injured at the time, but look, he's played one of the best seasons he's had. I think in any other season he would be he'd be a surefire, top candidate for the Dally M. I think he's just in a season where Trbojevic has just been, completely off the charts. Beyond that, I don't know. I'm struggling to kind of get the third one, because there are a lot of guys out there that I'll probably say Nico Hines, because he came in. He's had quite a few games. He's played really, really well, and he's looked. He's really looked the part. He's won himself a nice big payday, and it's a nice situation that Melbourne are in with it. Having 2 classic fullbacks like that. But it'd probably be Hines, but there's no shortage of fullbacks. Just look at the Titans. He's like. Preston Campbell's lad is just suddenly coming, and he's running them all ragged. You seems like every side has got. They've got pace. Plenty. Just think about that. It's not just him as well. You've already got the guy. He's replaced. I forgot his name now. He was fantastic. There's more fullbacks around in the NRL right now, and it's very, very difficult to pick out players that are in that next kind of category, just below, the Trbojevics and Tedesco's.
Yeah, I mean, I think
they're everywhere.
It's hard to go against Tommy Turbo. I mean, if you're picking like a team of the year, I mean, he's the guy for me. But I like you saying Nico Hines, because I'm going to go for Will Kennedy. I would have gone for Latrell, but what happened in the last couple of weeks, which kind of killed it, because I mean, to use that phrase, excitement machine. Every time he's got the ball, and even when he's not got the ball, he's exciting Latrell. So I mean, he would have been my choice, but I'm going to go with Will Kennedy. I think from the Sharks after stepping into the position, because they kind of had nobody really filling in for the position. He's kind of broken through and made the place his own, with the possibility of Hines, who was possibly recruited for that role. He'll now find himself probably playing standoff, which I think is going to be looking very good for them next year. I think Cronulla, with the addition of that. Okay, just a couple of the stats on while we're talking about it. Tommy Turbo's stats for the season: 25 tries, 27 assists. Okay, to put that in context, next highest fullback is Kennedy with 14 tries. Next highest assist is Teddy with 20 for his son. I feel awful for going against Teddy, because I mean, I'll be honest with you, I think he's certainly the last 2 months he's just been exceptional. Yeah. Okay, and then on to the wingers now. And I have these are our nominations for the excitement machines, the one we like to most to watch. I have put Corey Thompson in there, even though he missed the load, because again, he's just great. He's just great to watch. 23 tries. Jason Saab, 23 tries. Put Jordan McLaren in. I think he definitely deserves a nomination. He's one of our favourites. Brian Toto, with his 14. What's his name? Johnston, Alex Johnston, South, 27 tries. Ruben Garrick, who broke the point scoring record in the NRL, 21 tries. Of course, Tupou at the Roosters. And I've also dropped in Ravalawa at St. George because he's another one you just can't take your eyes off him. You know, when he's got the ball and when he's tackling, he's just a great. Who's caught your eyes? Who would be your wingers, your favourites for this season, Jeff? Who have you enjoyed watching?
Well, I think Aroka has played exceptionally well. If not all season, I would say like 90% of the games he's played. I think he's really raised his game.
Never has a bad game, does he?
Yeah, the biggest compliment I can give to Johnston is I didn't even know he was there. Yeah, he's one of those guys that like you can't remember him scoring, and then you look at the try scoring chance, and he's like 20 odd tries. You're thinking, I don't even remember him scoring half of those. It's just he's an outstanding finisher. But he's more of a finisher though. If you look at someone like Toto, he's clearly a finisher, but there's a lot of value added with him, isn't there? You can run him out the back like an extra fight. He's a big help to your forward pack, excitement machine. Plus, he's got that 200-watt smile. Gives you a suntan from like half a mile away. It's a Hollywood smile, that one, isn't it? Love it. Great.
I mean, so drinking on Toto while you're talking about the value added that he brings, he's averaging. Is it 25 meters more per game than the next best in the NRL, which is Tommy this season, and 50 meters more per game than the next person, which was Turabasicek, who's been gone for 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 weeks even. Just give you some sort of idea in terms of the volume. I mean, I think he's like 200 meters more than the next person in just total carries. But I mean, that 50 meters, 25 meters over Tommy, and then 50 meters over the next guy. That's just a phenomenal. I mean, is he? Oh, I'm hard picked. I got to say, Jason Saab's the first one I think of when I think of excitement machines.
Yeah.
Just because that pace. I mean, that chase down he did the other week. I can't remember the winger who was. Oh, it was the hammer, wasn't it? When he chased down the hammer, and would have caught him, but for a bad tackle. I mean, I'm torn for a second one between. I can't decide between Toto, Rapana, and Corey Thompson. And you know what, mate? I'm going to go for Rapana. He's my other one. He's just 100% all the time, 110%, and he makes things happen.
Well, look, without him, Canberra and stuff, and like I said, bear in mind that they only got him back as a kind of an afterthought. He'd already left the club and gone to rugby, he came back, and really speaking, Cameron must be thanking the lucky stars that he did, because he was going back on a relatively inexpensive contract, and he's another one. The value added he's given. Without him covering centre, fullback, he's played wing. He's also played standoff in one game. So that's value. That's what you call value added, isn't it?
So who are you going for then? Is your two?
Yeah, I think I probably have to say, I think I'd go for Aroka and I'd go for Toto.
Okay. Well, that's it this week, folks. We'll be joining you next week when we'll have the first round results, the first two teams that have been eliminated, and that'll mean there's only 2 games next week. That's right, isn't it? Yeah, 2 games next week. So we'll have a little bit longer look at our favourite players, and also then hopefully as the season goes, as we get towards the final, start picking our tries, players of the year as well. So it's thank you from me and Jeff. Thank you, Jeff.
Thank you very much, mate.
And thanks for joining us. Enjoy Rugby League. What do you do? Cheerio.
Yep. Bye-bye.